This chilling tale is brought to you by our podcast. Each week, we bring you a terrifying new story written by our community of horror writers. Hey everybody, I'm here with a podcast. Every Saturday, we publish a new original horror podcast, normally somewhere between 25 and 45 minutes long, always completely free. We've got a lot more in common, actually. You see, we both love watching scary movies and getting all worked up about nothing. But, unlike me, you have better things to do with your time. That is why I created a newsletter so you can get all of my pointless updates and personal stories without having to follow me here. Plus, if you sign up, I'll tell you where you can watch all of my terrible movie reviews, completely free. Sign up today, and let me take you into my confidence. I promise you won't regret it. Podcast Story House. No. 13 Part 1. Hey, are you ready? Turn off the lights, put your headphones on, and don't forget if something moves behind your curtain while listening. It's probably too late. So, it all began when a girl named Raha moved into a new neighborhood. Everything looked normal. Rows of Alice's dim yellow streetlights. Quiet neighbors. Except for one thing. Right across the street, there was an old, abandoned house. Number 13. Its windows were broken. The paint was peeling off. And the number 13 was barely visible on the rusty front door. When Raha asked her neighbors about it, they just went silent, or gave her a quick, nervous glance, almost like they were scared to even mention it. On the second night, as she turned off the lights, it started raining. The soft tapping of rain on the roof echoed through the house. Then she heard it, a faint rustling sound from across the street. At first, she thought it was just the wind. But then she heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, on the wet asphalt, step by step. Closer and closer, until they stopped, right outside her window. She froze. She didn't dare move the curtain. She just held her breath and listened. Then, scratching, long fingernails dragging across the glass. The next morning, when she finally had the courage to look, her heart sank. Written on the foggy window, in shaky letters, was a single word. Go back. That night, the noises returned, but this time, they weren't outside. They were inside the house. Footsteps in the hallway. A door creaking open. Tensu Raha lived alone. But she knew, in that moment, she wasn't alone anymore. She grabbed her phone, dialed the police, but when the call connected, there was no officer's voice, just the sound of someone breathing heavily on the other end. And then, a whisper. I told you to go back. Terrified, Raha dropped the phone and ran to the front door. She pulled it open and froze. The rain had stopped. The street was empty, silent. Everything looked normal, except for one thing. House No. 13. For the first time, a faint light flickered in the second-floor window. A light that pulsed, almost like it was calling her, and she realized whatever was inside didn't want to leave. It wanted her to come in. She slammed the door shut. Her hands trembled as she reached for the lock. Why did they warn her not to move in? Why was that house abandoned? What was inside? Questions that wouldn't leave her mind. Overnight, the house became an obsession. It seemed to mock her from across the street, beckoning her with its flickering light. Fear warred with curiosity. Days turned into weeks. And the scratching at her window became nightly torment, accompanied by whispers. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. The fear had become unbearable. She had to know what was behind that door. Armed with a flashlight and a baseball bat, she crept toward the house. Its peeling paint seemed to writhe like a corpse flower. Ivy choked the walls, clawing at the windows. Reaching out, she touched the cold, damp wood of the door. House No. 13. Was it a curse? A warning. With a deep breath, she knocked. Silence. Then again, she knocked louder. Still no answer. Taking a step back, she swung the bat, shattering the silence. The first board came away. Then a bat hit something hard. A low, guttural growl rumbled from within. Suddenly, the air grew frigid. Her flashlight flickered, casting grotesque shadows on the wall. As the last of the light died, a shape emerged from the darkness. Tall, gaunt, with eyes that glowed like embers in the dark. Whatever it was, it spoke, its voice a rasping whisper. "You shouldn't be here. Turn around while you still can." Frozen in terror, she could only watch as it glided closer, its eyes boring into hers. She wanted to scream, to run, but fear had robbed her of all sound and movement. It lunged, she screamed as it brushed against her, sending shivers down her spine. Something ancient, evil, slithered past. In that instant, the world seemed to crack, and she felt herself falling into an abyss of darkness. When Raha woke, she found herself lying on the floor, her body aching, her head pounding. Had it been a dream? Disoriented, she sat up, rubbing her eyes. The first rays of sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating a horrifying sight. The front door was wide open. The boards she had hammered in lay shattered on the ground. Her flashlight was broken, the lens shattered, but the most disturbing scene was inside the house. The walls were covered with scratches, deep gouges that looked like claw marks, and in the corner, she saw a pile of dirt and decaying leaves, a small wooden box nestled within. Her heart pounded in her chest. What did it mean? What was inside that box? With trembling hands, she lifted the lid. Inside, resting on a bed of dried petals, lay a single key. It was tarnished, ancient, yet there was something familiar about it. Suddenly, it clicked. The keyhole was shaped like a crescent moon. She had seen it before, etched on the window frame. Could it be? Hope surged through her. Maybe there was a way to stop it. She needed to find that window, to seal the breach. The house was in ruins, but one part stood intact, the upper floors. She climbed the broken stairs, each step creaking ominously. The air grew colder, damper. She could feel its presence watching her, waiting. Then she saw it. The second-floor window was boarded up, but not sealed. There was a keyhole, shaped like a crescent moon. Her key. She slipped the key into the hole and turned. The boards creaked, and slowly, a sliver of light appeared. Then from behind the boards, a voice rasped, "Too late." As the boards splintered and fell away, a skeletal face peered through the opening, its eyes glowing embers in the darkness. It beckoned with a finger. "Come join me," it whispered. "We can rule this world together." She stumbled back, knocking over a loose brick. It fell, striking the creature's hand. It recoiled, hissing in pain. The distraction gave Rohar time to climb onto a nearby table, to scramble through the window. Inside, she found herself in a dusty attic. Cobwebs brushed against her skin. She raced to the far corner, her heart pounding. There, beneath a tattered blanket, she found a keyhole in the shape of a crescent moon. Hope surged through her. If she could reach that keyhole, she might be able to trap the creature. But as she moved, a voice hissed behind her, going somewhere. Startled, she whirled around. The creature stood in the doorway, its eyes blazing. "It's too late," it rasped. "You can't escape now." Fear threatened to overwhelm her, but she forced herself to keep moving. She had to try. Reaching the keyhole, she jammed the key in and turned. A click echoed through the attic. The creature lurched forward, its claws extended. "No!" it screamed, its voice echoing through the dusty room. "Don't seal it. Don't trap me forever." Its eyes burned with a terrifying light. The keyhole began to glow, spreading warmth that pushed back the encroaching darkness. With a final surge of strength, Rohar pushed the creature back. "Goodbye," she whispered, sealing the keyhole with her last ounce of power. As the last rays of sunlight faded, the attic plunged into darkness. Silence descended, heavy and absolute. In the corner, blankets stirred slightly, as if something had tried to move. Then, an ominous voice whispered, "Next time, Rohar, next time."